Hello everyone. My name is Daiichi, and I will give you a lecture regarding the radiation and remediation activities. So, let's start today's lecture. Today's theme is, what is the IAEA, Volume 1? Are you ready? Hello, Hikari.
Oh, Mr. Daiichi. Hello.
Today you wear different clothes than usual, but what has been happening?
Well, actually, today there was the Western Festival near here, and I went there with a friend of mine.
I see. That's why you have taken a rest here.
Correct. I have surfed on the internet to watch some news.
Are there any news which interested you?
Well, let me see, for example. News reporting the IAEA interested me. These days, I have really watched and heard a lot, the news with regard to the IAEA. For example, they came to Japan, regarding the treated water released from the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power station. And also I saw a number of times that they went to the nuclear power station and negotiated with government officials with regard to the conflict in Ukraine.
That's right. Then, today I would like to provide you with information which I know about the IAEA. As a start, let me talk about the background and history for its establishment. In 1942, during the World War II, in the United States, the development of atomic bomb, under the so-called Manhattan Project, began in earnest. An Italian physicist, Enrico Fermi, developed the first nuclear reactor in the world, and successfully controlled the chain reaction of nuclear fission. In 1945, also taking advantage of the developed technology, the US forces dropped atomic bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Probably, Hikari, you also know that the bombs resulted in deaths of a number of people. After the World War II, the world went into the era of the Cold War, and for example, in 1948, the US forces carried out a nuclear test in the Pacific Ocean. After that, the development of the nuclear weapons was promoted, including the development of hydrogen bombs, by the former Soviet Union and the United States. On the other hand, interest in commercial use of nuclear power expanded all over the world, to respond to the increased energy demand, as well as diversification of energy sources. And also in order to address the concern about the proliferation of nuclear weapons, the idea had been widespread that the nuclear power should be managed internationally. In the meantime, in December 1953, the President Eisenhower of the United States delivered a speech in the United Nations General Assembly, titled, Atoms for Peace, and momentum grew toward the establishment of the International Atomic Energy Agency. This Atoms for Peace had been so long time used as a so-called motto of the IAEA. By the way, after that, the word development was added to the motto and currently used. In 1954, in the United Nations, the discussion about the draft IAEA statute started. In 1956, the draft was adapted, and on July 29, 1957, the IAEA statute received the necessary number of ratifications and entered into force, and finally the IAEA was established. By the way, Japan has been one of the member states of the IAEA, as well as one of the board members, since its establishment, and contributed a great deal to the activities of the IAEA.
I see. The IAEA was established after the World War II, with the aim of promoting the peaceful use of nuclear power.
At that time, it was the height of the Cold War, and both the Eastern and the Western blocs were competing for control over the nuclear development. Therefore, of course, there must have been political considerations as well, but anyway, the IAEA was established under the initiatives of the United States. This time, I mainly talked about the history toward the establishment of the IAEA. Therefore, next time I would like to go into details of its organization, as well as the role it plays. So, let me wrap up my lecture by providing you the key points. Today, I mainly talked about the history of the IAEA toward its establishment. In 1942, the Manhattan Project began in the US, and in 1945, atomic bombs, developed as a result of the project, were dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. That resulted in deaths of a number of people. After the World War II, the world entered into the era of the Cold War, and the nuclear development was promoted all over the world, such as the nuclear test in 1948, carried out by the US forces in the Pacific Ocean. In response to these movements, calls for necessity of international management of nuclear power had grown, and in 1953, the speech, "Atoms for Peace," was given by the President Eisenhower of the United States in the United Nations General Assembly, which created the momentum toward the establishment of the IAEA. In 1954, discussion about the draft IAEA statute began in the United Nations, and in 1956, the draft was adapted, and in 1957, the necessary number of ratifications was achieved, and the IAEA was established. Okay, today's lecture is now dismissed. See you next time. In this channel, useful information regarding the radiation and remediation will be provided to you. If you like it, please subscribe to this channel, and do not forget to click the like button.